Today, I'd like to take you on a bit of a tour of what we've done because I think we've at least come up with somewhat of a solution for the drones being fueled, and we've definitely expanded our capability even more. So right now, you'll notice that we're currently at our steel factory where we make all of our steel pipes at 240 per minute. We've actually added a brand new truck station out here. So we used to have a truck station out here. It didn't go so well because we had two. But now we currently have a little tractor. Yes, it's the original Naughty tractor coming way out here. I have him out here because it's where all our steel pipes are. And from there, we can actually repurpose or do something else with the factory that was sort of like ad hoc and placed out there. So I've actually turned that copper production for the wires and the cables into an actual building instead of having a big mess. So I redid it, I readjusted some things, and now it all fits into a building. I think it looks so much better now, and I don't feel so icky about it. I've also added drone ports on the side of it. Last time that we played with all the drones, it seemed like we kind of ran into an issue with fuel, right? So how do you refuel your drones? I thought maybe on the oil islands we can kind of get a drone that will deliver fuel to all of the different drone ports. Here, I've actually decided to just have a buddy system and a bunch of pickups. So the way that works, essentially I've got one drone that's dedicated only to picking up fuel. You'll notice it's not doing anything right now because our hold is completely full. We've got one fuel drone. This is heading over to our oil islands where we have a fuel pickup point. There's no drone assigned to it. We'll ferry fuel here. The moment we're out of fuel, this will then activate and go and get more fuel. The way that it's hooked up inside, actually, this is actually pretty cool. You can go up onto the ladder, slide down, and then, oh, actually, no, never mind. Oh, there it is. I missed it. You can go down the ladder. It's a little difficult to navigate and hop inside. So essentially, we've got the output taking all the fuel. Get the flashlight on there. The output taking all the fuel and sending it over to the active delivery drone right here into its fuel slot. So this keeps this port all fueled up and ready to go. This one specifically, we have a little bit of excess with the copper, and I needed copper ingots to do stuff with. So I'm producing copper ingots, and there's a drone that's delivering it continuously in order to create the alclad aluminum sheets way over at the oil island. So it's a little circuitous, but it keeps up the progress, and there isn't any break in production, which is pretty amazing. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we've done up above, because over here in the distance, you can kind of see a little bit of it. That's the sulfur being transferred over to our armory. We're gonna head on up there because some things have changed there as well. Oh, and there's the Naughty tractor delivering all of the pipes, except this time, you know, it's I think maybe I shouldn't call it the Naughty tractor anymore. Now it's more of a term of endearment because that thing is doing a great job. I actually noticed as well that there was a bit of a hiccup. One of the parts of this elevator lift for all of the pipes and the coal was actually a Mark 1, which was a big no-no and a mistake. Oops. You know what? Let's... I'll get to that in just a second. I just installed this because I was getting tired of flying up and down and using the zip line up and down this mountain. It takes a little bit longer than I would like, so I installed a hyper tube in order to do that. We'll go up there in just a second. That was... I'm still not used to it. It's brand new. We had one of the pieces of this lift at a slower mark or version, and it was causing issues with the throughput in general. So that's why it was not running as cleanly. Now you can see that the steel pipes are flowing continuously, and this just being brought in by that single tractor. So very, very nice. What are we gonna do out here? Because this is where the tractor used to be assigned. Well, this, I can either delete it, remove it, or repurpose it. I mean, this was always supposed to be kind of temporary. All it was doing is creating steel pipes for this, and it has a bunch of weird snaking, circuitous iron over roofs and stuff like that. I didn't really appreciate that, so maybe we'll clean that up and repurpose things. I love that you can see our train heading on up to the armory out in the distance there. So we might as well take our hyper tube up there and take a look at the armory. Look at that, he's delivering some pipes just like that. It's so cool to see them doing their thing, and that's just flowing now. That's so cool. So here's the hyper tube. I forgot about these for the longest time, and I'm glad I remembered them because they're so handy. Even at nighttime, don't really have to think. We just sort of get popped out like some type of old... Oh, interesting, it turns off our flashlight. Like one of those old sort of, I guess, old mail systems. You know, the ones like the pneumatic tubes, yeah? That brings us upstairs or up the mountain where you see coal being delivered this way, coal being delivered that way, and all the pipes that are flowing on in. You will now see that it has been extended. So now we have proper sinking operations, so we're not going to get over flooded with smokeless powder and stuff like that. And down below, we've greatly expanded, so you can see that we've got our Nobelisk set. We have cluster Nobelisks being made. We've got rifle ammunition being incorporated into the mix. After all, we're being piped continuously now and automatically a bunch of copper sheets from drones. That's right, so we've incorporated more drones. So it's the same setup. We've got the fuel drone, who's mostly dormant until we run out of fuel. And then we've got our delivery drone, which is heading over to the fancy factory village and passing in a bunch of copper sheets. And then those copper sheets are being passed back. And then that's what allows us to make all of the rifle ammunition right here. And now that's fully automated and going indefinitely. And as you can see, there is no break or stop or anything like that. The throughput is greater than our production capacity. So really, really happy about that. And we even left more room to expand out this way. So eventually I'd like to create some, I think, the homing ammunition. So that's going to need some high-speed data connectors. For some reason I was thinking AI limiters, circuit boards, high-speed data connectors. So we're going to need high-speed data connectors plus the rifle ammunition in order to make this happen. Oh, it's a doggo! Gosh, I wish there was a, you know, one thing I wish for this game is that there were a better way to mobilize and transport doggos around, because trying to move them across the entire world without losing their interest is like a dog with ADHD, right? So that's not all. I also wanted to create some compacted coal because I was trying to figure out how to make turbo fuel. So you'll notice that down below, I'm now piping in and splitting. We have 120 per minute of the coal coming in, and the sulfur on this side, we're making our regular black powder. So I'll switch so it's a little easier to see and not as jittery. And on this side, we're making compacted coal. I haven't really done anything with it yet. At first, I thought I'd take it by the truckload and send it out to our oil islands so that we could actually create some turbo fuel. And all of a sudden, when I was kind of figuring out how that would all work and the logistics of it all, something really caught my attention. I was flying around, and only after I had done all of this, I was flying around and I noticed something new. If you head out in this direction, super close by, I've been trying to figure out how do I couple this facility with our armory, with the oil islands, and actually, if you head right here, there's oil. There's oil here. Now, I cannot detect it when I scan for crude oil because it's a pressurized system. So take a look at this. So if I hold V and I look for crude oil, oh, well, I guess it appears here. Oh, maybe I didn't have the, you know what? It's very possible that I didn't have the necessary technologies yet. Well, I do now, and this shows up. So I didn't even realize that there's already crude oil out here. So just on top of this hill, within sight of our armory, is a place that you can pressurize with a well pressurizer. So I think that's what it's called, right? It is the resource well pressurizer. You slam that down into the central node, and then all of these small little cracks, there's even more that I haven't tapped. You can actually pump in these little extractors right here, the resource well extractor, and I'm able to use a little bit of oil in order to make a little bit of the rubber with a polymer resin, and that rubber is then being used to create circuit boards with the electrode circuit board. And now we have a small circuit board production. So that way we're able to have a little bit of backup and start the prep in order to make, let's say, high-speed data connectors, computers, things like that. Those all require circuit boards, so it's kind of nice to have. And more importantly, we actually have some crude oil out here. We've got compacted coal right there. We don't really need to go all the way out to the oil islands to bring everything together. We kind of have some oil out here, so I didn't realize that. And if anything, we could even do our smokeless powder production out here. But you know what? It got me to make trains. I love it. So, you know, this is just an addition and a new thing. So that's very, very cool. Glad we have it. What else is there? Oh, hello, nuclear guy. We're just going to keep moving. What else is there? We're just going to go ahead and fly right on by. Oh, excuse me. He threw a rock right at us. Oh, we can land right on top of this. Isn't that crazy? Oh, I realized it. Oh, it sways. Okay, well, I've never done that before. That's really cool. Well, I dig it. I used to think these were hot air balloons. Got all the lights, all the testing, everything. There is our drone pickup for the copper sheets, yes? So you'll notice there isn't a drone assigned to it. It doesn't have any fuel, which, if I'm perfectly honest, if we had a whole system where anytime you've got a pickup point, it also provides itself with fuel, that would be amazing. So in the future, I might actually, I want to build out the copper village a little bit so that it actually looks like a building. Everything else looks like a building except for it. Then we can also add the fuel drone and then the pickup point. And I think that'll be a really, really nice thing to do. So that is sending all the copper sheets out to make the rifle ammunition. And if we slide right past all this, past Sam's Biofuel Museum, talk to you later, Sam, and head out over to where we made our heavy modular frame starter factory. Now it actually looks like a building. So we're just kind of going around like the cleanup fairy and cleaning up all of the builds, right? In addition to it just not looking very nice, it also had some efficiency issues when I first built it. That's why there were a bunch of yellow lights, because some of the floor holes, for some reason, weren't actually allowing stuff to go through. So I basically just deleted, rebuilt them, and they're all good. So now it's fully green, which I am very happy to see. So here we are. This is our heavy modular frame factory now with floors and windows. This is our limestone miner. Oh, did I leave a hole there? Oh, my bad. Oh, let me patch that up. Okay. Whoops. Quality control. So it's all looking clean. And if we head outside, I even left some room to expand because we've got so many more resources to use. Head up to the second floor, head up to the third floor, and on the top we've got our manufacturer, where we're now actually sinking out heavy modular frames because we have a full industrial storage bin, which is a beautiful thing to see. So there she is. So it looks a lot better now. We've cleaned up our copper tower. We've cleaned up the heavy modular frame factory. We've expanded the armory itself. We've automated the delivery of copper sheets, and now we have automated our rifle ammunition. You can see that our train's heading on over to the oil islands, and over in the oil islands, we've now automated the production of alclad aluminum sheets. So the way that we've done that is also with the drone. They're quickly becoming probably my favorite way to transport things right now. Granted, it's not en masse. That's where I'm definitely going to need the trains. Sometimes you just need to add one thing here or there, and rather than tap a whole new deposit, you might as well just grab from what you're already producing if you've got a little extra headroom, right? We've added on to our aluminum setup with a drone. So this is a delivery drone. It's moving around and picking up those copper ingots all the way from the copper tower where we started. So this is the drone that's grabbing them. You can see we've come to a standstill mostly because we're completely full. I should probably sink out the alclad aluminum sheets now that I think about it, but it's completely full of the stuff. And yes, I should add that to the sink. Those are mergers, right? Well, I mean, I can figure that out. We'll figure that out later. When we use our alclad aluminum sheets for making the conveyor belts, the Mark V conveyor belts, then that drone is going to launch and go and get some more copper ingots. But right now, it's completely saturated this lane. I was thinking, how do we get compacted coal? How do we get sulfur? How do we get coal together in order to turn this into something even more powerful with turbo fuel or rocket fuel? And I actually came across some new recipes in the form of the nitro rocket fuel recipe. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, I could retool all of this so that we could make more power. Because honestly, when I was looking at some of the machines, they were taking like 1,000 megawatts already, just how they are. and I haven't even hit tier 9 yet. So we're going to quickly approach our cap for electrical power generation. So in this case, it seemed like a good idea to maybe tear this whole thing down, replace the packager setup right here, the packaged water, with blenders, kind of like a larger scale version of what we have set up for fuel pickup point, and then essentially turn this into something a little more efficient or easy to use and scale it up with the sulfur and nitrogen gas and all of that. But then I realized if I tear this all down, I mean, this is generating all of our power. So we'd run into a big issue in that the factories would shut down and then everything would have to start up all over again. Just seemed like quite a big pain. So I figured maybe we should do this somewhere else instead of doing it here. And then once we have enough power overhead, then we can come back if we so choose and expand this and make it more efficient. In that process, I ended up traveling far. I mean, we went very, very far to find the right place. And we visited an old friend, the Blue Lagoon. So let's head out to the Blue Lagoon and we'll kind of take a little bit of a tour along the way because, oh, there's some drones. As I was trying to get the sulfur and the coal together to send it out here to make turbo fuel, ammunition, to make more power, etc., just to make turbo fuel, I was making compacted coal in the Armory and then was planning on shipping it out here. And then at that point we found the oil, so then no need to do that. I'll just put that on pause. And then I tried to look for sulfur and I tried to look for nitrogen gas out here to then ship that over there. You can see that I've actually started pumping some nitrogen gas right there. It's not hooked up right now. And then over on the right side, there's a pure sulfur node right here. I was setting that up, ready to receive a train, but no go, no need for it now. And down below, I'm going to probably build some type of amazing factory down there just because it has so many resources in this area. I really want to save this for something. I don't know what it's going to be. Maybe supercomputers, computers, something like that. And so now we're entering the grassy fields. I set up this giant power tower network because I'm heading over to the Blue Lagoon, yeah? And one thing I noticed as well is that the power towers on top of the mushrooms, they look really cool, but strangely enough, I didn't realize you can blow up the mushrooms so they can disappear if you use nobelisks on them. So I just got to be really careful. I got to be really careful with my nobelisks lest my power towers just float in midair, yeah? Okay, so here we are. If we look at the map right now, you'll see that we are currently across the map, complete opposite corner, southeast corner, and here is the Blue Lagoon. This is probably the biggest project size-wise that I've ever undertaken in Satisfactory, and I'm really, really, really happy with it so far. So very, very, very excited about this. Here we are in the middle of the Blue Lagoon, and I'm making rocket fuel, yeah? So the way that this works, and this is my first time making rocket fuel, is essentially we've got one pure oil extractor that's pumping out 600 per minute of crude oil. It's then sending it on into these 8 oil refineries, which are making heavy oil residue right here. And those are pumping heavy oil residue and polymer resin. Actually, it's 50 per refinery. That's right. So 50 polymer resin per refinery. So 400 total being sunk out right here. So that's a lot of polymer resin. We could easily set up some type of processing facility over here, just pull the sink and then turn that into plastic, rubber, circuit boards, you name it, whatever it is that you want to do. You can get it out here easily. We've got plenty of polymer resin to process now, which is very, very exciting. Then we've got 8 blenders, all overclocked. I think it's like 200% overclocked. So they're using the diluted fuel. So instead of doing the packaging and everything, it's just one machine each refinery. And so that's all being sent over and it's being mixed in with some water on the opposite side. So we've got 4 water extractors at 200% each. Actually, not 200. I think it's 200 cubic meters. Oh yeah, 200 cubic meters each. My bad. So it's 800 cubic meters of water being piped over to these diluted fuel blenders. Those are then passing out fuel And then we're mixing in, this is the big one, right? So we're using the nitro rocket fuel alternate recipe to mix fuel, nitrogen gas, sulfur, and coal. Now there's 8 of these, and they're overclocked, so they take in quite a lot. It's 1,600 sulfur per minute, in theory, if they're all active. It's 800 coal per minute, and then 1,200, I think it's 1,200 cubic meters of nitrogen gas per minute, along with the, I think, 1,200, that's, well, 1,600 cubic meters of fuel. So all of that comes together in order to make rocket fuel, which I didn't realize is a gas. You can see it looks different on the pipeline. So this is the gas pipeline versus a liquid pipeline, which has the slosh and the flow and all of that, right? So this is very fancy and marbleized. So this is the rocket fuel. So all of these I've designated A through H. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. Green designates that this is being fully utilized. Same here. The yellowish, sort of goldish color actually indicates that these already have been marked for use. So in this case, I've marked them here with these letters. And then white means I still have yet to figure out what to do with them. So there it is. So the first thing I did was take the rocket fuel and create one of these as like proof of concept. So essentially, it is a fuel generator facility with 30 fuel generators in it running rocket fuel. So it's pulling in 300 per minute of the compressed gas, the rocket fuel out of E, and this is building E. And then it's producing 17,994 megawatt. And if we were to run over to the closest source of energy, then we've got about 36K megawatt worth of power on the grid at the moment. So you can imagine this could, in theory, produce like 143,000 megawatt worth of power. So I was kind of thinking I'll just build out one of these, make sure this works within the given space. So there's 10 fuel generators per floor, and then I can repeat that process. If we could fit everything, let's say, within from this line over to the right for B, G, C, and D, that would make me very happy, because we do have byproduct in the form of the compacted coal, which we can turn into either turbo fuel, because believe it or not, I skipped turbo fuel entirely and I'd like to get some. And then also we've got 400 per minute of both, right? So 400 per minute of the compacted coal, and then 400 per minute of the polymer resin being generated. I love what we've done out here. So this is where you can see all of the external resources that we're piping in through this giant wall of belts. It's not too far, so it's all right. And then down below, we actually have a visible logistics floor. So I'm really digging that as well. And then all the red highlighted paths are the awesome sinking. We also have a packaged rocket fuel production out here. So we're taking 300 cubic meters of rocket fuel, and it's being crammed into these machines. Although now that I think about it, I should have underclocked these a little bit. My bad. 50, is that right? There we go. So I messed that up. I need to underclock them. So now they're able to process all 300 per minute. Right now they were drawing too much there. So now all of these are going to produce 300, or take in 300 per minute of rocket fuel and output 150 per minute of packaged rocket fuel, which are then being sent over to this pickup point for the drones. So this is one of the pickup locations. You can see we've designated pickup locations across the drone network. So we've got copper ingots to grab. That's in the copper tower where we started earlier. We've got the fuel, so standard fuel to grab, and that's in the oil islands. We've got empty fluid tanks, which are also in the oil islands where our aluminum factory is. And that's actually something that we are grabbing next door so that we can package the rocket fuel. And we got copper sheets. And then, of course, right here is the rocket fuel pickup point. And this is the delivery drone that is now powered by rocket fuel, which actually makes the drone even faster, which is kind of insane. The round trip is 4 minutes and 43 seconds across the whole map and come on back. And then it's going to dump off a load of empty fluid tanks from our oil islands, and then that allows us to make the package rocket fuel. So very, very cool indeed. And there is the delivery drone of empty fluid tanks that have been all the way over to the oil islands, and it's dumping off the empty fluid tanks, and they're just gonna fly right on out. There they go. And they're flying through and starts this right on up, which is excellent. Look at that. And they're gonna come out at 150 per minute. And unfortunately right now, sink them out, but you know what? They're worth tickets. So let's go in and take a look at the satellite operations, because I think that's just as fascinating, and I think it's actually quite beautiful. So maybe we'll move this way and then work our way back over to the factory. And we are going to head out to our first stop, which is actually our sulfur location that we passed by in the beginning. So we need to move 1600 per minute of sulfur to our power lagoon down there. And I was trying to figure out how to do that, because the maximum throughput on a belt that we've got is 780 per minute, and that's obviously insufficient for the job. We can't just cut it in half and essentially transfer 800 per minute on a belt, because we don't have that kind of throughput. So we'd had to break it into 4 even pieces so they can actually power up those blenders efficiently and smoothly. An interesting challenge is that the developers have taken 3 of these sulfur nodes right next to each other at different qualities. So this one is impure, the one over here is normal, and the one over here is pure. So if we overclock it up to 300 per minute, and we overclock this one to 600 per minute, and we can only overclock this one so far, so we actually only overclocked it to 700. That makes it 3 plus 600, so that's 900 plus 700 is 1600. And then we needed to figure out how to break that up into 4 equal pieces of 400 per minute, right? So this is being piped out and then split in half, so that breaks this 700 into 350 and 350. And then this 300 is being split out to 150 and 150. They're being combined together for 500. So here are the mergers right there. And then those 500 are being split into 250 and 250. And if we look at this 600, it's being split twice. So we come out at 600, we split to 300, and then we split to 150 for 4 lanes of 150 right here, combined with the resultant 250 from the 500 being split into 2 parts. And now we've got a combination merged at 400 per minute. So that's how we got 400 per minute on every single one of these conveyor belts here. And then we just start running it down the lane to go and pick up some more friends. I've kind of made like a great wall type of setup out here, which is an interesting look. It was not my intent, but I couldn't figure out how to bring these together. There's a bit of a gap there, so I just kind of covered it up by doing a great wall type of thing. And then this has all just been piped across to the nitrogen gas pickup. So out here, we have a nitrogen gas setup. We've got a resource well pressurizer and a bunch of resource well extractors. And amongst all of them, we're outputting at 1200 cubic meters per minute right here. And then they're all being combined in different ways to output at 600 per minute per pipe, which is the exact amount on the pipeline Mark II, which is perfect. And since they're gases, we don't have to worry about head lift at all, which is awesome. So you can actually see the difference in the pipe representation here. It doesn't look like a bunch of fluid. It's actually gas. So those are being taken across in parallel and routed around the outside to our final location, where we're going to pick up the coal lanes. So I thought this was really cool because we pre-line them all up. They're all color-coded. We pre-line them all up so they're all coming in this order, and when they come down, they look so cool. Then they're being piped into this even taller bus where we're also incorporating the coal now. So it's set up in this precise way because we've got like an upper floor of blenders and a lower floor of blenders. So I wanted to make sure that when we take these, they can split off in half and have access to everything in equal amounts at equal flow rates. So that's why this is set up this way. It looks kind of weird, but it makes sense to me. So we've got coal, 2 sets of 400 per minute of sulfur. It's actually 400, 400, 400, 400, 400, 400, 600, 600. So those are the rates. And those flow all by. Fortunately, you know, 400 per minute works really nicely with a conveyor belt Mark IV, which can handle 480. And then those come on over and descend one last time out here and down. And then they split out into 2 halves like we were talking about, right? So you can see it right there. And then they all flow down below and go into the depths of the logistics floor. So now I can float again. I didn't have energy out there, so I couldn't use the hover pack. So you can see that we've got these lanes coming out, and they're feeding the bottom line of blenders for the nitro rocket fuel. And then we've got this set right here, which are passing just barely under, and then being sent out into the upper floors. We've had to kind of pipe them over to the side just because you'll see. This is that first set of, I want to say, materials, reagents, ingredients. And this is the second set. They have to be offset back, and they flow right up to the next floor. And then they get sent on over like that. Isn't that cool? I was so pleased with the result. I didn't know how it was going to go, and I'm so glad. And then now we've just got these 8 different sort of like fuel pumps just waiting for use, and it is so cool. And I actually thought a really neat thing too is I've been routing all these pumps underneath the floor so it comes back up. If we break this open, you can see that it's just suspended underneath. And that's super helpful because I couldn't even put walls here before when I was running a straight line across this ground right here to step inside for the first floor of all of the fuel generators, right? So overall, really, really pleased with this. And the nice thing is, setting one of these up did not take that long. It's pretty methodical. And so I know exactly how much space the next one will take for another 18,000 megawatts and another one for 18,000 megawatts at 6x13 as the footprint. And then we'll be able to have, well, I guess up to 4 more, or we do something else with the rocket fuel. I don't know what we'll do, but it's there. So nice thing is we can also take it in chunks. So we actually get results right now instead of having to wait for the whole thing to be done. And they just chill there waiting for the day, primed and ready like athletes, so they can just start sprinting. And then we'll start to see all of these lanes just fly by, and it's just going to be a glorious thing. So I'm really, really pleased with this. This is probably my favorite creation thus far. I love that in the distance. I mean, look at that. It's like the neon lights of Vegas or something. Man, I didn't really expect the conveyor belts to come with their own, I guess, lighting situation, but they really do add a lot, I feel. It's so cool. Anyway. So I can't wait to build this out further. And I guess at that point, then we'll probably have more trains and we'll actually have the trucks moving around, because I have quite a lot of resources that I started to tap but didn't actually finish the job because I ended up out here where it had everything that I needed. I can at least go back, and now I don't have to worry when I'm building out a computer factory, something like that, that we're going to bump into the ceiling, because we've unlocked one more thing that I haven't even put down yet, so I don't even know what it looks like. We've unlocked the particle accelerator. Look at this beast. So in theory, that's huge. I mean, look at that. Compare that to a building. I mean, that's huge. This would take so much. So obviously I don't have the materials to make it, but it's really, really cool. I mean, excellent. So yeah, this game is so cool. So thanks so much for joining me. I'm loving this game. It's probably my favorite game right now. I mean, at least for what it is. It's just such a good way to relax or decompress or something like that. If you enjoyed the episode, please feel free to like, share, or comment down below. It helps us a great deal. I had a total blast. I hope you did as well. And I can't wait to get into the next one with you. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.